Howdy, folks. Greyhawk 4x4 coming at you again, your resident vintage gamer. And it is Thursday night gaming chat live. How are y'all? I am doing well. That's an interesting, let's see here. I just got a weird notification saying live streaming YouTube studio. This tab is using your camera or microphone. I hope so. I certainly do hope so. Anyway, that's new. Never had seen it do that before. Oh, it's because my cursor was over it. Okay. So I hope that you guys are hearing me. I don't see why you wouldn't be, but I've never seen that come up before. So thirsty. Been going all day. You guys getting audio? I see there's two people. There was two people waiting when I started this, so let's see here. Hopefully we'll get somebody to confirm I've got audio going. Because last time the audio was all jacked. Okay, good. How you doing, Dwayne? So we're gonna wait. I got a few things to show here today, but I want to wait until we've got a few people in here. In the meantime, I can go over a couple different things. We'll start with something pretty benign, and that is I want to know if all of you, whoever happens to be in here right now, and then anybody watching this on replay, if you've seen the first episode of the Book of Boba Fett, the new Boba Fett series on Disney. My wife and I watched. No, I watched the first one. That's right. My wife was at work. I enjoyed it. Hello, Bastille. Bastille, thank you for the gift. Actually, the two gifts, and we're going to get to that in a second because I want to show it off. And I have kind of a funny story about it already. So, but I wanted to know if anybody has seen the Book of Boba Fett, the first one yet. I liked it because I don't have to have nonstop action in Star Wars movies and fantasy stuff like The Witcher and stuff. I don't have to have nonstop action. Some people, if it isn't nonstop action, if there's any kind of periods of dialogue where they're engaging with people and there's not a lot of action going, they just automatically say, oh, it's bad. I'm not that way. I liked Boba Fett. I thought it was pretty good. Hey, Chupa. So we got Chupa, Dwayne, and Bastille in here. So anyway, yeah. Any thoughts on Book of Boba Fett if you have seen it? Now that Bastille is in here, I can tell this story. So Mr. Bastille here in the chat there, he's also one of our moderators. He sent me something for Christmas. And I got it today. And there you go. FF says Book of Boba Fett is great, major Conan fantasy vibes. Exactly. It's giving us some depth of character into not only Boba himself, but also Fennec, his right-hand person, and new characters that are being introduced and everything. I like that kind of stuff. So anyway, so Bastille sent me this for Christmas. Now, when I first saw it, I had a couple thoughts go through my mind because I said, okay, I thought it's either a cookie jar or it's an ice bucket. And the reason I thought that was because initially I believe he had this printed on here. Now this is ceramic and it's on both sides. It says, see you on the flip side. Now that's how I sign off every video. But I usually say, catch you on the flip side. So then I thought, well, maybe he didn't get it printed. And then I was able to figure it out. I said, I believe I figured out what this is now. I believe it is for your spatulas and shit like that to go on your kitchen. Like that. See, on the flip side, meaning as in flip pancakes and shit like that. Now I'm wanting to see if I'm right, Bastille, because I got all of our stuff here, and it all fits in there just perfect. All the wooden spoons, all that shit. Is that what it's? I'm hoping that's what it's for. Because if not, that's what it's going to get used for. Because there was no lid, so I thought, well, if it would have had a lid, I would say, oh, it's a cookie jar, or a ice bucket, which either would work perfectly because it's ceramic. But I believe I figured it. I believe I solved the mystery. So thank you very much, Bastille. It was a very nice gift. We have the perfect spot right behind our toaster, right next to the stove. We had all these in a drawer. So now it'd actually be much handier to have them right there, because I don't do a lot of cooking. I'm not a cook. I do a couple things very well. One of those is omelets. I'm the omelet king. So that's why I have 3 spatulas. So anyway, this will get put to good use. Thank you, Bastille. That catchphrase is from Boondock Saints. I thought about it for dice as well. I did think that. I was like, well, shit, there's enough room to hold like all my dice in there too. So I did think about that, but I think especially with on the flip side, I was like, yeah, it makes sense to have like spatulas and shit in here, for flipping pancakes, flipping omelets, whatever, So anyway, and Bastille, I did get the card as well. I would show it, but it's got glitter all over it. And I have a bad history with glitter. So I'm being very careful not to get this shit all over me. So thank you though. I did open it. I did read it. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So anyway, moving on. That should be the end of any Christmas content, because we're almost at New Year's, and I would actually be wearing my Utah Utes hat, but I'm still wearing this in honor of John Madden, who passed away. But the Utah Utes hat will be going on because they're playing in the Rose Bowl, so that will be going on again soon. Let's see. Let me look at my list here. And by the way, yeah, I know none of you probably care, but if you do play fantasy football, if you're involved in that at all, I am in my championship game in my league. I made it to the championship. So Sunday, we get to see if the Greyhawk 4x4 Assassins, that's the name of my team, if the Assassins take the championship. So fingers crossed. So one of the things that we talked about last time, I think, was we got onto a roll about these old-time TSR fantasy artists. We were talking about Clyde Caldwell and Larry Elmore and Keith Parkinson and Jeff D. And there's a whole Darlene and there's always the one guy, Jeff Easley. All these people that and when we were talking about that, I said, well, I've got a couple of old coffee table books that TSR put out that I'll show on the next live, which would be now. So the first one is called The Art of Dungeons and Dragons Fantasy Game. And I believe that right on the front has got to be a Larry Elmore. Yep, that's a Larry Elmore. The Right Way to Role Play with DM James. What is up, my glib globs? Is that I'm guessing that DM James, I'm guessing that is, that must be a tagline you use. I'm guessing you do videos or a podcast or something like that. Is that a term you use usually? Because I've never heard that before, glib globs, but I like it. So anyway, The Art of Dungeons and Dragons Fantasy Game. And if you can find, I'm sure you can find this on eBay. But it's got all the artwork. Let's see if I can. There you go. That's better. It's got from all these different. Oh, Rick and Morty. I should know that. I've watched all of Rick. Well, I did not watch the last season of Rick and Morty. I need to. See, so I was right. So it was both. It was the wife. Bastille says the wife found that utensil holder and she thought it would be a good gift since you say a similar phrase at the end of your videos. We watch your live shows together. So yes, thank you to you both. So I was right that there was a reference to my catchphrase, and I was right that I figured out that it was a utensil holder. I'm proud of myself. The old brain actually works every once in a while. Um, let's see here. There's another good couple of pieces of art there. I mean, this thing is chock full. Um, there's Death's Ride. That's a famous one. Death's Ride right here. Right there. Um, so anyway, this is a good one. There's one of my favorite, Clyde Caldwell, right there. This one here. So if you're interested, if you like the artwork stuff, you can probably find this on eBay. I'm guessing. At the time when this was printed, it was $14.95 cover price. I have no idea what they go for now. But they also put out another one. They actually put out three, I believe. They put out one, The Art of Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and I don't have that one. But they also put out The Art of Dragon magazine. Now, this is one of my all-time favorites as well. This particular artist, and I want to say his name is Bouvet. Let's see here. Yes, Dennis. I want to say Bouvet is how he pronounces it. It's called Two Dragons. That particular artist, Dennis Bouvet, has did a lot of different things. He always made lightning look so cool. But this one is just all like the cover art from all the magazines and stuff. And Bastille says, the right way to role play with DM James. Hi, James. I enjoy your videos. Got into Axe because of you. Thanks. So I was right. He and Glib Globs. Now that you say it's Rick and Morty, I'm almost certain I've heard Rick say that before. So, but it's been a while since I watched Rick and Morty. So I didn't watch that last season. I heard it wasn't very good, but I probably should watch it just for completion. Now, in addition to all the artwork in here, because like they'll just show you like the covers of the Dragon magazines here. They have all those in there. But in addition to that, like here's some of the full page ones. So in addition to like all the artwork and everything, for whatever reason, I think it's kind of interesting. In the middle, and I still have mine unpunched, meaning it's all intact. They have a segment in here about building your own cardboard castle for minis. And it has all of the cardboard stuff in here to do it. It has all the cardboard pieces right there. It has several pages of all the cardboard pieces. And again, mine's unpunched. I haven't taken any of it out, put it together or anything. So I'm assuming that that's pretty cool because I'm assuming quite a few people probably took it apart to build the castle and all that. So that's another good one. So those two, I don't have the other one. I think there's an advanced Art of Advanced Dungeons and Dragons that came out either in the 80s or 90s. I don't have that one. But since we were talking about artwork last time, I figured I'd show those. So cheers. You know, as a retired guy, Axe equals adventure, conqueror, and king. I have never heard of that, but I'm going to write that down. I got to start writing stuff down that you guys put on here because I will forget. So I can look that up later. There's so many systems out there though that I've given up on trying to collect like all the different systems and everything. At 55 years old, it's like at some point I I got to stop adding to the collection. I mean, look at this shit. I'm still, as I'm cataloging everything, it'll eventually all get put back on the shelves, all nice and neat and everything else. But like right now, it's a mess. But anyway, so as I was saying, as a retired guy, for whatever reason, I'm finding myself busier now than I was when I was working, and I still can't figure that out because I used to work full time and I was on call all the time, 24 hours, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. I was on call, and for some reason, I'm busier now. Like today, I was nonstop doing shit all day today, and it's like, okay, um, can't quite figure it out. I'm not sure what, but it's some kind of phenomenon that goes on. And other people I've talked to that are retired say the same thing, that they're busier now when they're retired. They got more shit to do. Now, mind you, a lot of it is stuff that I want to do, but I guess it's good that it's keeping me busy. So that's one good thing. So Chupa, considering that you brought that up, that's a good topic. I've had that discussion with my wife. If I go first, I already have it set up with, and of course, I can't think of his name right now. But he runs on eBay. He runs the largest, basically collection RPG collection auction company that there is. Stromberg. His last name is Stromberg. Paul Stromberg. It's called the Collector's Trove, I believe. And we met him at GaryCon. And I already had a conversation with him. And I told him if I go first, my wife is going to call him. She's got his card. And he's going to do the rest because I should have everything cataloged hopefully knock on wood, long before I should have it cataloged, probably in the next, finished in the next couple of months or so, including all my Dragon magazines. And that means bagged, boarded, labeled, cataloged on the computer, cross-referenced and all that, the whole thing. And then from then on, anything new I get, if I do continue to collect, it'll just be easy to just add it then once I'm all caught up on all the shit that, all 40 years that I'm trying to get cataloged now. But anyway, so that I already have that mechanism in place if I go first. So if my wife goes first, I have to do the same thing with her Wizard of Oz collection because she has her whole office is all Wizard of Oz shit. And I don't know if none of you guys probably follow it, I'm guessing, but if you ever go on eBay and look up Wizard of Oz collectibles, yeah, I got my work cut out for me if I ever have to liquidate her Wizard of Oz collection, let me tell you. So yeah, those discussions and mechanisms have already been taken care of. So let's see here. Let me get caught up here. Bastille says, I'm planning to retire in 2022, but I am too scared to lose the paychecks. So my situation was probably unique, Bastille, because I'm a veteran. So I have the VA medical available to me. If I did not have that, I would not have been able to retire because I would have had to keep working just for medical. But because I'm a veteran, I can go to the VA. I've already gone since I retired. I was going every year anyway. I had to go every year for a physical. You would go every year for a physical just to keep your VA benefits active. You had to keep yourself active in the system. So I would always go every year for my physical, but I had my other medical that was through the city that I worked for. But because I don't have that anymore, now I'm strictly relying on the VA, which is fine. We have a big VA hospital right here in Salt Lake City. So I'm good there. If I didn't have that, I wouldn't have been able to retire. Yeah, that's a fact. Losing the paychecks, be only because we don't have any debt, wasn't an issue for us. The house is the only debt we have. The house payment is the only debt we have. Cars are paid for, all that's paid for. So yeah, if we weren't in a different situation, I wouldn't have been able to either. But now what that also means though is that we have to live very modest because I'm not bringing in paychecks. So it's a trade off. If you're willing to live modestly, um, then yeah, it's easier to do. Some people can't do that. Some people want to go and they want to be traveling all the time and they want to be going to expensive dinners all the time and they want to be going, which is fine. That's their prerogative. I don't need that. My wife doesn't. We neither one of us need that. So like for Christmas, we didn't get ourselves any gifts. Like we didn't get each other anything. We used to spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars at Christmas time getting each other gifts and shit that we didn't need. So um pretty sure Holy Diver and Ranger live in the Salt Lake area. So Holy Diver and Ranger. I'm wondering if that is a reference to some other, is that other YouTubers, other gamers, or are you talking about um, like Holy Diver as in Ronnie James Dio and Ranger? Well, that Ranger would no, that would be Night Ranger. I'm thinking of Night Ranger. So I'm leaning towards. I'm just going to try and decipher that and say Holy Diver and Ranger. Well, I can Google it and see if it is anything. Let's see here. No, nothing's coming up other than Holy Diver, the music video. So he does a lot of war games. Okay, there you go. So I was right. It was a personality. I have not heard of that particular person, but I would like to. I'll leave it up on this tab here so I can look into it a little bit more offline. We have a famous game store in Salt Lake called Haster Games, and it has the owner is his name is Cthulhu Bob. Everybody just calls him Cthulhu Bob. And that's kind of a legendary game store there. It's been there forever, and Cthulhu Bob has put on umpteen, events, and all kinds of stuff going on up there. And if you want to find anything, like wargaming wise, that's the other game stores don't have any stuff wargaming related. But Haster Games up there in Salt Lake, Cthulhu Bob he's the only one that has all the stuff, So so I'm guessing that if I was to go up there to Haster Games and ask about Holy Diver and Ranger, Cthulhu Bob would know who we're talking about. So let's see here. We talked about so I do have a story to tell you guys about, because you guys know I'm back into Star Wars Galaxies on the EMU, on the emulator, and they launched the new server and all that. So they hit today. I looked and it was 1,000, almost 1,100 concurrent players that were on today, and the servers have a maximum capacity of 3,000. Over 1,000 is considered a lot for a 20-year-old emulator game. But for whatever reason, with this new server, word got around and it has taken off, and it's a freaking blast. And I want to tell you a quick story to put it into perspective for you guys. So, in Star Wars Galaxies, you don't have any dedicated classes. You can put points into anything you want. I did a let's play, and I will do some more. But I showed that there's all these different skills that you can take in all these different professions and so forth. There's 32 different professions. And hey, Mobius. And so one of the archetypes that you can take is scout. You can go scout, you can go medic, you can go all these different things. And so I always go scout because I want to end up being a master ranger, which is the elite profession of scout. And so for scout, you have to literally you have to build camps, and then you have to put them out. You have to set them out. And basically for maximum 15 minutes, you get the max XP for having your camp out. And the more people that visit your camp, the more XP you get. So the trick is you go out and you find where people are collecting resources, And this isn't like most other games where, like World of Warcraft, you go and you hit a mining node, bing bong, couple times, boom, you're done, you move on. No, you find a spot where it's like 90% saturation, and you just sit there and you just keep mining it for as long as you want to. Hey, Alejandro. And so last night, I'm doing some surveying, and I find out that there's some really good aluminum outside of town there in Mos Eisley. So I go out, and sure enough, I find a whole shitload of people there mining it. Right. So my thought is, I'll put my camp down right here in the middle of them, and I get all these people that are doing all this mining are automatically in my camp, and I get XP for all of them. Fucking brilliant, right? So I go to put it down, it won't let me build it. It says too close to a building or something. And I'm like, God damn it. So I look around and I'm like, I can't find what they're talking. There's some houses that people have built, players have built, but they're further away. I'm like, can't be those. And then I realize there's like a tent thing over off, a little ways away, and it's got some NPCs in it. And they've got like a camp thing, but it's an NPC camp. That must be what it is. But they're way too high level for me to take on. I can't take them out, because if I took them out, their camp would disappear, and then I'd be able to build mine and get my XP. Can't do it. Frustration. So I move over to where further away. Now I'm building my camp where all these people are not at. I'm not going to get all that XP. And some higher level dude comes, boom, he wipes out that camp, that NPC camp, and he drops his camp right where I wanted to drop mine. And he's a higher level scout, higher level. He's leveled up his combat stuff too, which allowed him to do all that. And boom, he drops this massive camp with a much higher level one that's got crafting stations, all those shit. And so I go over and I'm like, damn, dude, I go, that's exactly what I want to do when I go, but it wouldn't let me. He goes, yeah, you had to take out that NPC thing. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, but I couldn't do it. And so he was getting all this XP for all these people there. I mean, just a shit ton of XP. And every 15 minutes, you just drop your camp and you set another one real quick. And you just keep it going, right? To keep building up your survival XP. And then you can get to the next box, get the next bigger camp, keep leveling, etc. And I'm like, damn, man, I'm missing out on all this, all because I just couldn't take out that one thing or whatever. And then he goes link dead. It'll actually say LD above your name if you go link dead, meaning that you've disconnected from whether it was your internet or whatever, and you've gone. And if you go link dead, after a few minutes, your camp will just disappear if you've got your camp out. So sure enough, his camp disappears. So I go over, boom, drop my camp. Yeah, fuck yeah, I got like 15 people in my camp. That's instant super XP, right? And so I'm happy as hell. I'm like, yeah, I finally got this spot. He probably went AFK, like went off to dinner or something and forgot and got disconnected. So I'm like, I'm not feeling bad because I'm thinking he went AFK, That son of a bitch comes back on a few minutes, not maybe 5-10 minutes later, he comes back on. You know what he did? He went over to another camp of creatures, some diseased bowcats, they were called, higher level like lizard things. That son of a bitch kited them into all of us where my camp was. So I'm sitting and I'm sampling too. I'm mining too while I'm there. You can do both while you're in your own camp. You can sit there and mine and get resources too. All of a sudden, I start getting attacked. Everybody, it's like a fucking bloodbath. And all of a sudden you see these people just start scattering. And I had to run because this was much higher level shit than I was. And I didn't die. It incapped me. One of them you get incapacitated, and there's a timer. And then sometimes if they're evil enough creatures, they're bad enough creatures, they'll come back and they'll death blow you. You're done. And you got to go respawn or whatever. There's a cloning involved. But so I get incapped. But the minute you leave your camp in combat, it abandons your camp. And that son of a bitch put his fucking camp back up. So that is, and now mind you, that is just organic content. There's nothing scripted about that. There ain't nothing planned by the developers for that kind of shit to happen. That is what'll happen. And I mean, as frustrated as I was, it was dynamic as hell that that whole experience right there happened just like if in a role playing from a role playing standpoint, if he's going to play a dastardly scout, ranger, or whatever who has no morals, no ethics, or whatever, and he's just out for himself or whatever, that is 100% within character what he did there by by kiting those other um, badass creatures into us. And they will instantly go for the in Star Wars Galaxies, the creatures and stuff will instantly go after the lower level characters. They smell blood and they just boom, they go after them. And so that's why, I mean, it was funny as hell to see this whole all these people, 15 people or so that are just sitting there minding, all of a sudden just start scattering in different directions because they're getting attacked by these fucking lizards. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if you guys find that story entertaining or not, but for me, that's one of the reasons why I love that game. As frustrated as I was, as pissed as I was that I lost that camp and everything, I was like, that's why this game is awesome because that's the kind of shit that can happen to you right there, you know. Um, yeah, Bastille. So you know what I'm talking about because you can imagine what I'm talking. You know exactly what I'm talking about when I say because you got the grind for the camp grind. You only get XP every 15 minutes. You sit there and you hope you get enough people in there. You get, more people, the more XP. And then after 15 minutes, you got to tear your camp down, put another one down. And as you're doing that, you're crafting new camp sets in your inventory. You're getting XP for crafting too. And so, but anyway, so I will, I got to do maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow might be a good day because again, we're on hiatus from our campaign here until after the first of the year. And then we got a new DM going to take over for a while. So tomorrow will be a good day. I might do a let's play tomorrow. It'd be fun to see because I've leveled up quite a bit. Be able to show more of the game. So let's see. I don't really have a whole lot more gaming wise to talk about. The Steam sale is going. I don't know if any of you are fans of like the Civilization series. Like Civilization 6 is really heavily discounted right now. So Chupa, Star Wars Galaxies, it was on Steam back when it was still in production. It has long been canceled. Years ago, it was canceled by, at the time, Sony Online Entertainment. And they were bought out, by Daybreak and so forth and so on. But that game's not produced anymore. However, this is um, this is an emulator that's done by a nonprofit now to keep the game alive. It's basically player run, and they've done a phenomenal job with it. So to answer your question, Chupa, if you owned it on Steam, you can still go in and reinstall the game, which it needs it needs a legit install. That's what the emulator will look for. That's why Bastille said he's got his discs. You can install it off the discs, or you can install it off of Steam if you owned it on Steam. I never did. I wish I had, because I wouldn't have to worry about discs ever again. But there's your answer. So if you had it on Steam, yes, you can reinstall it it'll still be in your library, even though it's a discontinued game. And that will allow you to download and run the emulator. So let's see here. Mobius says, anyone play DBD? DBD. What is DBD? Dirty by Daylight. Let's see. Death by Dragon Breath. Dead by Daylight. Okay. I do not. Otherwise, I would have known what the acronym stood for. Yeah, I don't know if anybody else is that console or is it also a PC game, Mobius? Let's see. Because I should be able to pull up Steam right now and take a look and see if it's on Steam. Let's go to store here. Let's see here. Dead by. Yes, it is on Steam, it looks like. Dead by Daylight. Let's see here. Multiplayer 4x1 horror game, which one player takes on the role of the savage killer, and the other 4 players play as survivors trying to escape the killer and avoid being caught and killed. That sounds quite interesting. So there was a. I don't know if you guys remember. Let's see if anybody remembers here. There was a time when in Half-Life, or no, not Half-Life, it would have been Counter-Strike. Death by Dragon Breath. It sounds like a fun game. Maybe I need to write that down. Maybe I need to, if I design a game, maybe I'll call it that. There was a time when Counter-Strike, the original Counter-Strike, had I wouldn't say it's a mod because it was part of the game, but it was a different mode to play in, where, and I don't even remember what they called it, but I think it was VIP, they called it, or something like that. One player on the one side, so you had terrorists and counter-terrorists, obviously. But on the counter-terrorist side, in the VIP mode, or whatever the hell it was, one player would play the VIP. Now, this person was a non-combat. I mean, I guess they could fight a little bit, but not. It didn't mean anything. They couldn't hardly hurt anybody or whatever. They technically could. They had an umbrella. They could fight with their umbrella because they were in a suit with a briefcase and an umbrella, and they were like some like VIP, and the counter terrorists were like the bodyguards for the VIP. And the idea was you had to get the VIP across the map. It was like his car broke down or something, if I remember. Yeah, his car broke down or got ambushed or something, and you had to basically escort him across the map to safety or whatever. And of course, the terrorist side, they're trying to take him out. And that was the, and it was like, it sounds like this Dead by Daylight, same type of thing. Now it was multiplayer, but it was a lot more than, I'm saying on each side. I think you had like 8 players on each side, maybe. So you had like 7 bodyguards plus the VIP, and then like 8 bad guys. And I don't know if any of you guys ever remember that. Any of you guys are old enough to remember that, or ever played it. But man, was that fun! Holy shit! I mean, we would play. Me and my buddy would, we would play that for hours. Like, we'd get off work and we would play that damn thing till like 1 or 2 in the morning. You know, we'd just be playing that. And sometimes it was random. You would just, when a new round would start, you might be the VIP yourself. And then your job is to basically stay out of sight and move when your team tells you to move, and crouch down and stay out of sight so that the bad guys can't see you and everything. Yeah, it was, and that's what it reminded me. When I saw that Dead by Daylight on Steam, it instantly reminded me of that VIP mode or whatever it was on Counter-Strike. So okay, so let's see. Thank you for bringing that up, though, Mobius, because that gave me another topic to talk about. Let's see. Let me go back up and make sure I did not miss anything. No, it looks like I got everything. So Bastille and Chupa, both you guys both look like you're gonna. Bastille looks like he's gonna retire before you, and then shortly after that, looks like Chupa, you'll be ready to retire. So more guys joining the retired ranks. So time to start living your life for you, and not somebody else that you have to go to work for every day. You know, so that's the way I look at it. My dad died at 68. I'm 55. He smoked all of his life. I never smoked, so I hope that gives me a few extra years on top of that. Um, but in the meantime, I'm doing what I want to do. You know, um, when my wife, when she decides she doesn't want to work anymore, that's when we're gonna start doing some traveling. I'm gonna go to Europe. Going to Europe, we're gonna be going to when we do that, and we decide to go to Europe. Hopefully, the coof stuff, the COVID stuff will. Hopefully, that will all be in the rearview mirror. I'm hoping by the time she decides to quit working. Um, and we go to Europe, we're going on an open-ended ticket. We're gonna go and stay and see travel all across Europe, see everything we want to see before we're ready to come back. We don't want to have some like deadline where you got to get, you got to go and rush through and see everything because you only got 2 weeks or whatever. Hey, Taja, haven't seen you in a while. It's pretty late for you, Taja. On a Thursday night at like 1 or 2 in the morning where you are, right? Yeah, you and Mistra. I don't usually see, and Colin, the three of you guys. I usually don't see you on Thursday nights because it's so late for you. But good to see you. It's been a healthy chat tonight. A lot going on. Here's a question for all of you to chime in the chat. Did you guys get any games for Christmas? Or whether you bought them for yourself, somebody else gifted them to you, your significant other gave it to you, or whatever. Yeah, that's why I was surprised to see you. But it's that weird week between Christmas and New Year's where a lot of people take that week off. So I guess that's not completely unusual. So yeah, if any of you guys got anything new for Christmas, game wise, I'd be interested to see it, or hear about it at least. Also on the Steam sale right now, you can vote for the Steam Awards if you're interested in that. It'll be interesting to see because one New World actually made it into some of the categories, which I thought was kind of interesting. So. Oh, that's right. I think you mentioned that last time, Mobius. You got that Dungeons and Dragons: The Adventure Begins board game. Dwayne's checking out the Steam sale. Chupa says no new games. Been splitting my time between SWTOR and EQ2. Yeah, and my plan is that on the days when I don't have a full plate of stuff to do for whatever reason, my plan is to split my time between EverQuest 2 and Star Wars Galaxies. That's my plan. So I'm hoping it works out. Maybe tomorrow or Saturday or something. So, of course, Saturday is New Year's. So my wife and I will be watching the Rose Parade, and the Rose Bowl itself. Space Marine 2 just released a trailer. I still got a 1,000-piece dog puzzle. Hey, let me tell you, my wife and I, there was way back when I say way back in COVID terms, way back last year when at the height of the pandemic, my wife, her shop got shut down for like a week, I think it was, because someone that she worked with tested positive. So they shut the whole shop down or whatever. So she had like a week off. We tried to do a puzzle. I forget how many pieces it was. We still have it. We bought one of those things where you can basically roll it up so you can work on it later. Yeah, it's still sitting in my wife's office. Hasn't been worked on since. That is if you want to have a family fight, start doing one of those gigantic puzzles together, and deciding which piece goes where and what section you're supposed to be working on, and yeah, that's that's an interesting time. But at some point we'll go back to it and we'll finish it. But we had to put it away for a while. Hero Quest. So Mobius, you bring up Hero Quest. Now, I never had the original Hero Quest, the board game. Uh, when it was back in was that the 80s or 90s when Hero Quest was out, and uh, it was there was a big deal. Like a lot of people liked Hero Quest, and then it became kind of like a collector's item. And now there was a Kickstarter. Somebody brought it back, rebooted it, and republished it. And this new, and I saw that a lot of people, like on my Twitter feed and stuff like that, people started getting their new Hero Quest boards and stuff like that. And it's like a big thing again, if I'm not mistaken. Um, if you have anything to add to that, please do, because it looks like that's what they did. It looks like there was a Kickstarter. They basically re-released it, and it's sold out. Like if you weren't in on the Kickstarter, you can't find a copy of it. So now some of that might have to do with the supply chain, them not being able to get stuff, produced. But Solasta, I gotta look and see what is Solasta. That's another title I've never heard of. Let's see here. Solasta, Crown of the Magister. Man, so this is a turn-based tactical RPG. That's interesting. See, there's all these, I go through all of like my discovery queue and all this stuff. I never have ever seen this game come up at all. Wow. It's a turn-based tactical RPG, so I'm not sure. Well, I might have to give that a go. It's 50% off. That looks pretty interesting. Yeah, I'll add that to my wish list right now. So, yeah, you guys, I like the fact that you guys put the stuff in chat, and then I can look it up, because if it's stuff I never heard of, it'd be nice to see it. They're just showing up in stores around here now. So that is a fact. Then the Hero Quest board games have been re-released, and I might be able to get one at some point, I'm guessing. I haven't looked on Amazon to see if they're available on Amazon, but no, I take that back. I think I did when I first saw it, like on Twitter and stuff. And wherever it was I went and looked, they were sold out. So might have to give it some time. But this Dungeons and Dragons: The Adventure Begins board game, I have to check that one out too, because I have the Adventure Begins, the Greyhawk supplement. It's called The Adventure Begins, but I'm sure that is completely different than what this board game is. So let's see if I can. There it is right there. Cooperative fantasy game, fast entry into the world of D&D. Okay. Interesting. Huh. Oh, I didn't notice that there's a Ghosts of Saltmarsh Adventure System board game expansion. Huh. Interesting. That's based on the Secrets of Saltmarsh, the module. Interesting. Let's see here. That is fully painted. This premium edition has fully painted minis inside. Wow. Yeah, I remember that, Chupa. That there was, a matter of fact, I have that box somewhere. I might have it over there. I know the one you're talking about. I didn't think it was a board game though. I thought it was like an introduction to D&D rule set. I didn't realize that it was. I guess I need to dig into it and see. I just didn't remember it being a board game, but it could be. So I may have to look into that. So let's see. Oh, I have not watched. Moby says, "Not mine. I'm going to paint them." Don't blame me there. If you've got the time and the discipline to sit down and paint, see, that's the plan. The plan is to get all this stuff cataloged, organized, put away. Once that's done, I took a break from DMing, So once this is done, I took a break from DMing. The next thing is to start painting some of my minis. That's another thing on the to-do list. But I did want to ask about The Witcher. I have not started The Witcher season 2 yet, and I have heard the typical naysayers who say things, like, "Oh, they ruined the series, and they did this, and they did that, and they got away from this, and they got away from the books, and all that other stuff." I enjoyed the shit out of the first season. So, if anybody has seen, um, if anybody's seen The Witcher season 2 without spoilers, if you could just say whether or not, if you thought that it was as good as the first season, worse, better, worth watching, not worth watching, etc., that would be appreciated. Chupa says, "My eyes are too bad to paint minis." So mine are too. However, and I'll have to do a separate video about this because I don't think I've ever showed my setup for when I do mini painting and stuff like that. I have an old, and when I say old, it's got to be, well, let's see, I'm 55. I remember my dad using this particular item when I was a little kid. So it's at least 50 years old. And I still own it. It's an old banker's lamp, or jeweler, not bankers, jewelers. It has a magnifying glass, and it has fluorescent light bulbs underneath that are nice and bright. And the thing is, it must weigh 25 pounds. Thing's solid steel. And I've got it bolted. I have it bolted to a little wood, like TV tray thing. And what I can do then is I move the whole thing, the table and the whole thing over to the big table, and it has an extending arm you can pull down, and I can put it right over the minis. And then I have holders. I have what's called helping hands to hold the mini, and I use the helping hands to hold the mini, and I've got that magnifying glass with the light, and I have to take my glasses off because if I'm working really up close, I can see really well if I take my glasses off, and then I can paint then. If I didn't have that exact setup, it would be difficult for me to paint as well. Mobius says glasses and good light source, preferably sunshine. Sunshine would probably work really well too. Now, you don't use a magnifying glass at all when you're doing like detail work and stuff like that, Mobius? Mike says, "I thought Witcher 2 was season 2 was okay. My wife thought it was just as good as the first. Never read the books. The pre-painted plastic minis are way too expensive, although I do have a few hundred." Yeah, well, I saw the some meme that said, "Oh, you can buy more minis when you painted the ones that you have." Yeah, yeah, right. um, so, so Mike, see, I think that's where we're at an advantage because, like, I never read the books either, but some people, and I've been guilty of that too, where there's been like something I've read, and then they make a movie or they make a series out of it, and I'm like, "Oh, well, it's not as good as the book." Um, but I try to get away from that. I try to have stop having predetermined notions just because I read the books. So, um, I've got lots of whiz kids still prefer the Reaper. Well, yeah, the Reaper stuff and the what was the other one? Ral Partha. I have a lot of Ral Partha and a lot of Reapers. Um, Mike says he uses reading glasses to do detail work. Yeah, for me, because I have bifocals and the bottom parts for reading and everything, but for me, it's just easier just to use the magnifying glass. Take these off and just use the magnifying glass, and it works. It works perfectly for me. So, the Wolf Den 808. Hello, folks. Hello, Wolf Den. Matthew Harris Gaming. That's an interesting question. I have an important question. That's one of those. That is one of those questions there, Matthew Harris Gaming, that will go unanswered for the throughout the eons of time, I think. Uh, Bastille, I'm using reading glasses to read this chat. Yeah, well, luckily I'm at the computer, and so it's on a nice big screen and everything. If I was on my phone, yeah, it, similar, it would be similar. All right, guys. Well, so the new people into the chat are the Wolf Den and Matthew Harris. Um, do either of you have anything that you want to ask, or besides about bodily functions? Um, Other than that, I'm going to shut this thing down at probably at 60 minutes. We usually go an hour because after about an hour, the old voice starts to go. That's why I keep the tea handy. And I think somebody on the last one said, "Oh, we hope you get well soon." Or where I'm not sick. My voice just after 1 hour of straight talking, the old voice starts to go. Um, yeah, it. That's why DMing. It's like when I DM those, what do you call them? Those marathon sessions that we do. At the end of a marathon session, between drinking beer and talking the whole time and everything else, um, man, it takes the next day. It's like I'm hungover, and it's not necessarily from the beer. It's just, yeah. Um, Chupa, there is no way in hell your wife reads that. She obviously does not watch. She obviously does not watch. It's like Bastille and his wife watch it together. I'm guessing Chupa and his wife do not watch this together. Because yeah, yep, nope. Yeah, yeah. There's a few things I can tease my wife about some stuff, but I would never say that in front of my wife. I'm not saying I would never say it. I'm just saying I would never say it in front of her. um, so he's a smart man. You can tell you've been married for a while. So, let's see. Let me double check, make sure there's nothing else that. No, I think we're caught up. I think that's everything I wanted to talk about. I think I am. I won't feel normal if I don't pick up something on the Steam sale. So I haven't decided what yet. I was asking earlier, and something sidetracked me on Civilization 6. That shit's heavily discounted, right? It's like 90% off, 85 or 90% off, or something like that. So I already have Civ 6. I don't have like all the DLC or anything like that. I might. It was like for all the DLC, it was like $10 or something. I'm probably gonna end up getting that DLC just in case, because it's one of those games where if I get into all of a sudden if something makes me just jump into it, I'll get swallowed up for a while, and it'd be nice for $10 to have all that DLC shit. So too much of a time kill. Yeah, that's well. I mean, of course, I'm retired now, so it's not an issue for me. I can, if I decide, fuck it, I'm gonna kill a couple of days just playing Civ 6. I might do it. But anyway, so I just thought I'd throw that out there for anybody that loves that, likes that kind of stuff. I have no idea if they're working on a Civ 7. I don't know if that's the end of the franchise. I didn't think they would go that far. Of course, I never thought Tropico would go. What are they on, Tropico 6 or 2? I never ever thought Tropico would even get. I didn't think it would get off the ground. I thought it's pretty much the same thing as Civilization games, but it's just set in like uh the Mediterranean, Cuba, or not the Mediterranean, the Caribbean, Cuba, Bermuda Triangle area type of a thing. I said that's the only difference, but they've done like 6 of them. So what do I know? I obviously don't know shit. So, all right, guys. Well, we're at an hour. That was a good live again, Bastille. Thank you for the gift, and the card and everything. So, yeah, Happy New Year. Yeah, I forgot to say last one before Christmas. I think I forgot to say Merry Christmas to everybody before we shut down the the chat. So, DM Dwayne, first time I played Civ 1, I went 12 hours straight. Well, that was so Dwayne, for me it was the first one I played like extensively was Civ 3. And but I did the same thing like you did. But the one for me, and I've talked about this before, was the uh, oh, what the hell, the space one. Um, damn, I got it on my wall up there. Wait, I talked about it before. Shit, same guy made the space one. Sid Meier, Alpha Centauri. Alpha Centauri. That's the one I told Dwayne. I don't know if you saw last either last live or the one before that. I told the story about I ended up playing that one all night long, and uh, Alpha Centauri, and the sun started coming up, and I had to call in sick because I'd been playing all. I didn't realize I'd been playing all night, and I had to go to work the next day, so I just called in sick because I'd been up all night. I hadn't had any sleep. So anyway, all right, guys. Next, so we got Friday, Saturday. Normally we got the campaign stuff, which we're not doing. So I'll try to do some Let's Plays or something in there. Unless something else drops, whatever. The right way to role play with DM James. Pirates was my jam. I loved Pirates. I played the shit out of that one too. Matter of fact, I think they did a remaster, and I've got that on Steam, which I have not played yet. But yeah, I played the crap out of Steam, or out of Pirates too. So, all right, guys. So yeah, I'll try to do some Let's Plays. If not, Sunday is the next live, and that's when I'm up for in my fantasy football championship. So while we're doing the live, I will be looking at my phone, seeing if I'm winning or losing on my fantasy football championship. So, all right, guys, we will catch you on the flip side.